What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Red G Fox channel. And this is a very special week. It is one of our favorite and the few friends Lamont has. It is Achu Week. Yes, the Japanese favorite, Pat Morita. He comes in as Achu, and he's only in a handful of episodes, but he is a memorable character for anyone who is a diehard Sanford and Son fan. So in his honor, we have Godzilla back in here. I always had Godzilla, then we replaced it with Kong, but Fred loves him. He even references Godzilla, and we will show a clip of that in this episode. So I'm like, I gotta get it in here. So today we are breaking down Sanford and Rising Son. It won't be a full episode breakdown. I wanna wait till I get to that in season, this is season 5. So it's gonna be a while. But we'll hit up the story, we'll hit up the plot, or not plot, the summary. We're also gonna do we got 3 fun facts today. The familiar faces we are going to save for that one. That way, at least there's something to look forward to when we come back to this episode down the line. Because I always have to go in chronological order other than our weeks. Like we had Grady Week a month ago and broke it all down. Each month we will have, it was this close to being Julio Week. And I said, you know what? I want to go Achu. We've covered Julio on a bunch. We aren't going to get to Achu for, geez, a good year at least. So I said, let's give Achu some due time while we're at this point. So, that being said, let's get to it. And hey, by the way, tune in all week. Look for, we just did a trivia question yesterday on Achu. It's going to be trivia, polls all about Achu, and we will also do shorts. We already got one up on Achu. So be sure to look out everything Achu Week. Share your favorite moments. Comment below in here. And if you are not a subscriber, you either don't like me or you just don't like Sanford and Son. It's got to be one of the two, right? Because if you love Sanford and Son, you can get by and ignore my videos like this, but still be part of the polls, the community. We have great conversation, and once in a while even jump in one of our live shows, which we will have coming up this weekend. Yes, and it will be an Achu episode. So man, this channel, I put in so much work for the fact of to get it to you guys because I have such a great time doing it, and I love Sanford and Son. So anyways, without further ado, Sanford and Son, Rising Son. IMDb gives this a 7.6. Hey, that's a great rating. That's like about the average of season 3. So that tells you this is a really good episode, one of the best for season 5. Let's get to the fun facts right away. Now, my favorite I'll save for last, but fun fact number 1. When Fred answers, multiple times in this one, Fred answers the phone because he's got the takeout restaurant. One of them he says, on there he says, "You deserve a break today." And then he goes on, and we'll have a clip in it. But when he goes, "You deserve a break today, eat your heart away with this rice." God, I believe that's the one. But that's an actual slogan at that time in the 70s where it says, "You deserve a break today." The restaurant, or quote-unquote restaurant, was McDonald's. Yes, they even did another same kind of "you deserve a break today," and then they followed up with maybe an Egg McMuffin or something to start out your day. But it was McDonald's, and then they did in the 80s, and I even read in the 90s they kind of retooled it kind of like that again. But yeah, so when Fred says that, just in case you didn't know, because I didn't know until I broke it down right now doing this episode, but when he goes there, he goes, "You deserve a break today," that is from McDonald's. All right, another fun fact with the phone call. This one, I guarantee you, you can comment below. I never even heard of this place. So unless you lived out in the 60s and in this part of the country where they were, you would not know this. Another jingle Fred takes is, "Don't cook tonight, call Freddie Delight," or something like that. And that is when he says, "Don't cook tonight, call Sanford Delight." That's what he said. "Don't cook tonight, call Sanford Delight." That's actually used from a place called Chicken Delight. So it would say, "Don't cook tonight, call Chicken Delight." And that was in the 60s. That was a chain of restaurants. They had about 1,000 of them around the country. So if you live near one, you might have heard of it. But most of their jingles were on the radio. So they say, "Hey, don't cook tonight, call Chicken Delight." Fred took that and applied it. So we know they were big enough in that time, or Fred or Red Fox, someone who wrote it, had heard of that before. So that is the fun facts. My favorite one references Godzilla as well for a second time in this episode. In this one, Fred talks about Godzilla, and then he even talks about the son of Godzilla, things that came from Japan. Then he goes, "Hey, wouldn't that be great if they made a cartoon called Godzilla and Son?" At that time, they didn't have that. It went on to be a few years later in the early 80s. They had a cartoon, Channel 4. I know it's for a 100% fact because I grew up watching it, called Godzilla and Son. It had a group kind of like a Scooby-Doo crew, and they would be on a boat, and anytime something bad happened, they had a little control with a red button. You push it and Godzilla would come out. And then they had Godzilla's son called Godzuki. wasn't even the same. In the actual Godzilla show, it was called Minya, the movies. In this one, they called him Godzuki, and I thought he could fly, something weird. But I loved it as a kid. We'll have a picture of it if I can find one right on here. But comment below if you remember that cartoon. It's just ironic, and I think it was on NBC. So maybe they had something in the works, and Fred knew he's part of NBC and he had the inside source, or it was just a joke reference and they ended up becoming a real show. But that is our fun facts. Very funny. If you've ever watched this episode and thought of Godzilla and Son and you were older at that time and never caught the cartoon, there was one. So thank you very much for that. Let's move on now to the summary. In this one, it's basically simple. Fred and Achu want to open a Japanese restaurant. That's it, right? The way it goes, and they go together in business, and it works out great. So let's get to the summary. All right, the breakdown. I just did summary. Let's get to the breakdown in this one. So Lamont is real hectic. He's like, hey, you know what? I got this. You can see he's stressed. He's got this business deal going on, the Miss Simpson business deal. And Fred comes down and he's got his bag of chips, which we never see him eat, but I love it. He's sitting there eating the chips, and he goes, hey, Lamont says, hey, Pop, I got a surprise for you. He's like, I love surprises. So they go into the kitchen, and let's see what it is.
Oh, hi, Mr. Sanford.
This is a surprise. Asian food.
Yeah, it's Achu. And you would think Fred would be happy, right? He's getting a meal, but one, he doesn't want that kind of Japanese food. He says it looks like something from Low Tide and Long Beach. So he doesn't want that. And he's not happy to see Achu in his kitchen. He's like, man, what are you doing here? So it's 2 strikes. But at least it's not Julio's food, the mofongo, which he turned up liking. So maybe he'll like this. But Lamont says, no, Dad, check this out. Pop. I always call him Dad. Pop, you're going to like this. And he even says it. I call it far out food from the Far East. And he's got that smile. I like Achu. So they're serving it up. And that's when they sit down and they go to have it. And Fred admits, he sits down and he's like, they're like, it's better than sukiyaki, tokiyaki, teriyaki, all these akis. And Fred's like, that's okay. I'll stick with my... You know what? Let's just hear Fred say it.
Anyone have some, Mr. Sanford? It's better than teriyaki, sukiyaki, kushiyaki.
No, I'll just stick with these Granny Gooseyakis.
I always say that whenever I get those kind of chips that resemble that. Granny Gooseyakis always pop in my mind. But he's like, I'll get Granny Gooseyakis. So he's going to keep those. And then he starts to notice it. He's like, you know, it doesn't smell too bad. You know, it actually smells pretty good. And then he wants to trade. He said, anyone want to trade like a bite for a chip? You know, that's a fair deal. How many times have we seen that? And this is so my youngest son, Noah. Lamont's like, okay. And he slides and he's like, take a piece. He gives him a chip and he takes the whole plate. That's how my son is. You give him a little piece and now he wants something and he wants the whole thing. And so that's what he does right there. And Lamont's like, whatever, you know, just pop. He was going to give some anyway. So he gets up to go get more. And Fred eats it. He enjoys it. Let's see his reaction right here.
Okay, I admit it. Achu, you a good cook.
You know, that's the first time I've ever heard you give anybody an honest compliment, Pop.
Shut up, dummy.
So he's like, you know, he's like, he might not like it tomorrow, but he does like it and enjoys the food. Now we get to the next thing. They made a giant pot. Lamont's like, hey, man, that's a lot of food. And he goes, I only know how to make it. You know, this ain't nowadays where, I mean, I guess if he was taught by his family, you know, he's only taught making recipes for big families. So you get the fact that, hey, you know what, I don't know how to condense everything into small amounts. So he's got all these leftovers, and what do I do? And Fred comes up with a brilliant idea of selling them and, you know, take out an ad. And he's like, yeah, what are you going to take out an ad for used food? That's what Lamont says. But he's like, hey, you know what, I think you got something there, Mr. Sanford. Let's see his reaction to that.
The cooking end, and with your brains, you could handle the business end.
Him run the business end?
How would you like to be on the business end?
So, hey, it sounds good, right? And this is what I love. I've always stated, ow, I have a hand injury. That really hurt. I've always stated that when you take Esther and Fred, the best part is them fighting, right? The jokes back and forth. When we see countless scenes, and tune into our channel all week, I'm going to have shorts where we always get different interactions with them. But we've seen it where he comes in and he's like, remember when he touches him and he's like, deep down inside, Mr. Sanford, you know, we're all the same inside. He's like, yeah, but I come up and turn black, you come up, you turn yellow. And then when he touches him, he's all, don't get no rice on me now. So Fred always has these quick jokes to come back at him. So you love it, but just like with Esther, but in here they become friends. And I always enjoy the scenes where Julio and Fred, hey, compadres, they're compadres. And now in here, they're partners. He's like, yeah, let's go. We'll go. He said, with my cooking and with your business, they're going to go into business. And this sounds like a good idea because it's small time. They don't think they're going to take it to, you know, become this huge chain of restaurants. It's a way to make money on the side. And when you already own your junk shop and you're not bringing in a huge amount, hey, make the most of your opportunity. And that's what I think Fred and Achu are both doing. So now we get to it where they're sitting around hanging out, and we can see right here, it's cool that they're just chilling together, talking. And we know, what I love is that in real life, we know that Pat Morita and Red Fox were great friends. Pat Morita actually opened for Red Fox as a comedian. A lot of times that's how they got to know each other. So it's funny to see them chilling and hanging out, almost like they would be at Red Fox's house. But they're hanging out and they're getting ready, and he's like, hey, relax, take it easy. And you see this bowl of baseballs at the table, which is weird. And he gets up, he's like, and he gets a knock at the door, and they think it's their first order. He goes over there, and it is Bubba. Let's see Bubba come in.
Hey, Bubba.
Hi, Achu.
Yeah, man, whenever Bubba comes around, it's always like, we just said this. Now, this is 3 seasons later, but I just said last week, as we're in season 2, we were starting to see more and more of Bubba, and get used to that, because season 3, we're going to get Bubba and Grady a lot. So I'm excited for that. But it just happens to be the week later, we got on Achu week, and we choose probably Achu's best episode, the one he's involved with the most, and that is this one right here, Sanford and Rising Son. But Bubba's in it, and he's chilling, and Bubba's just like, hey, give me my balloons, give me my, where's my fountain pen? And then there is and then there's the phone starts ringing, and Fred's going off the thing, and that's what the baseballs are for. Fred fills out what they're ordering. It's a great system, and for the only time I believe in show history, I think of all 136 episodes, I'm trying to remember if the first few episodes might have had it open, or it was either a window to outside. But this is the only time you see that little doorway, that little window open where you can go from the living room to the kitchen. And he tosses the baseball with the order on there, and Achu's got a baseball mitt, and he's catching it with the glove. So it's funny. It's nice to see that they're actually using this set that we rarely get to see it used in that way. But he's writing it down, and he throws it, and Bubba's like, hey, what's that? Let's see what Bubba says. When he hears, what are the orders? What the heck is it? He wants to know, what is this stuff?
What's Oriental Express?
I don't know, Bubba, but Achu said it made you feel loose in the caboose.
Loose in the caboose. So Fred's got that, and let's get up. Remember we talked about the phone call at the beginning? Let's hit up the phone call where he says, oh, you deserve a break today. Let's check that one out right here.
Hello, you deserve a break today? So come on and eat your heart away with this rice I got.
I love the way he says it, with this rice I got. So that, I mean, it got a lot of funny scenes in this part with Bubba and them. And now someone comes to the door, and it is one of the people picking up the order, and Bubba answers it. Remember, because Fred's bragging about, hey, man, I don't need anybody. This is great when you got business for yourself and you're just running. You don't need to rely on anyone. And then he always follows that up with needing someone. Grady, hey, man, I'll make this dinner for you, Lamont. Grady, go make Lamont dinner. So he tells Bubba, go get the door for me. So Bubba gets up, and it's Mr., I think, Walker, right? It's one of the guys. And he's here for his pickup. And Bubba's like, hey, he's here for his pickup. Fred goes, Achu gives him the bag, gets it, and gets the money. And then he's got the money, and he's like, yeah, for our first $6, you know, we're going into business. This is a historic moment. And let's hear some wisdom words from Achu on this historic moment.
You shut up. What did you say?
I said, give me my $3, man.
I love Achu. Give me my $3, man. You know, he wants his half of the money. And it's cool because you get to see, I feel like that's really Pat Morita's, the way he talks, because he's like, give me my $3, man. He's not trying to pretend that he's like a cool guy. That feels like Pat Morita, because he's hanging out with Red Fox in real life. He knows he's got that culture down and everything. And so that's him showing off, because other times he feels like, some of the episodes he's like, just feels like he's kind of like, hey man, you could have been you could have helped Lamont. You know, he's kind of like just a regular Joe. But here you see that he feels like he's got a little bit of soul in him. And so that's what I like when you hear that part. So he goes in the back, and now people are just coming left to right, and people come in and they want to stay. They want to sit in the house because they're in a hurry. They're like, hey, can we eat our food here? And Fred's like, yeah, sure, you can. And he's like, tells him about Bubba. And then he's like, Bubba don't even speak any English. And Bubba's like, what? He's like, see, he don't understand. And he's telling Bubba to basically get out of here. And Bubba's like, all right, I'm gone, Fred. So Bubba takes off. And that's when they go, yes, sure, sit down. And they're going to eat their food while they're there. So Fred's getting an idea from this. So now they're leaving, and they pay the money, and he's got a bunch. And then he left a 50 cent, was it 50 cent tip? 50 cent, something like that, a quarter or 50 cents. But it was a cheap tip, so Fred wasn't too happy. But Chu comes and he gives him his half of the money. And he's like, man, we're clean. Fred's all, we're cleaning up. He's all, nah, man, you're cleaning up. Remember, I'm doing the cooking. Let's look at that clip real quick.
No, Chu, we're cleaning up.
Wrong. You cleaning up. I'm doing the cooking, remember?
Yeah, another great scene right there where he does that. And in comes Lamont. They think it's someone else for the order, and they hand it to him. And now Lamont's pissed. He's like, you know what? I can't keep having this. Look, we got this huge deal coming on, and you could see Lamont's stress, right, of what's going on. He's been gone most of the day, if not all day, and then home for lunch. And he's like, you know what? I can't keep doing it. I can't. And I love that. He's acting like this has been going on for weeks. It's literally their first night. Calm down, Lamont. After a week of this, and it's really getting your way, or your dad's not doing anything around the house, then I get that. But he's stressing, and it's one night. Oh my gosh, Lamont's overdoing it. But that's when Fred's like, all right, that's it. We're done. You're right, son. And even Chu's like, what? You can see the expression. He's like, wait, what? He's all, we're going to open up a full-fledged Japanese restaurant. Let's look at that part.
We're going to open up a full-fledged Japanese restaurant.
They're going to do it. And I love it. After he does that and he's trying to say him, hey, we got this. And Lamont's like, wait, what? What's it going to be called? This is the best one. Let's hear this. This is the name of the episode. We got to see this clip.
Sanford and Rising Son.
I love how when he says that, it makes the gong noise. And you look at Chu, he gets this little side smile. Great picture, great clip right there. I like that. One of my favorites with Chu when they're not fighting against each other. So now we get to it and we see the restaurant. It looks really good. And Chu's setting it up. And he's like, hey, not bad for a couple, I think he says 3 days. So you know they've been putting some work into it. And it does look nice. Bubba comes in. He's got his nice waiter outfit. Bubba looks nicer than any waiter I've seen nowadays. So Bubba's good. And he's saying, hey, Chu, that looks great. Chu comes down. And who comes in the door? Someone who we have not gotten to meet in our show history, our channel history, because he doesn't come until Sanford Arms. And that is Hutch. So Hutch walks in, and man, he looks like he's ready to go off to lead an army. He looks so good. But he's got the nice doorman suit, and he's going to park the cars. Remember? And he's like, are you ready to park cars? Oh, wait, that's Fred. I'll save that. I want to save that clip. I don't want to ruin that. But he's like, Hutch's like, you're the best looking doorman around. So they're like, hey, is our leader ready? Come on down, Fred. Let's see Fred come down.
Great. And if the restaurant don't work out, we can always follow you when we go to invade El Segundo.
He's down. I love when he comes down and Bubba's like, hey, if the restaurant doesn't work out, we can always follow you to when you try to take over El Segundo. Oh, man, I love Bubba. So Fred does look funny. As soon as I see him, I'm always cracking up because his big gut hanging right over the edge. And he's even got his little belt right under the tummy. I mean, they do it intentionally, but it just looks outstanding. So now Fred's lining them up like soldiers. Hey, you do this. Suck in that gut. Let's see what he says when he tells Bubba to suck in the gut and Hutch to park the cars.
Pull in that stomach.
I just did.
I don't know how to drive.
Don't drive, just park them.
Both those clips are good. So they got to go, and now we see as they're all ready to go, it's packed. You can see it right here. It is packed, and it looks great. It's like, yeah, this isn't comfortable. It's just weird if you stop to think and go, hey, man, let's go try out that new Japanese restaurant. Well, it also says Sanford and Son Salvage. Well, you know, it's a part-time junk. I don't want to eat my meal in a junkyard. So it's a real weird combination, but it's successful, probably because the prices are cheap, and it's local, and it's just easy to, you know, everything about it, easy access. Maybe there's not a huge line. So they're in there, and Bubba comes in, and he shouts out, hey, Fred, across the room. And Fred's like, get over here. So he's chewing at him. Let's see what he does when he talks to Fred, when he gets over there. Takes what he really needs.
Ain't nothing to scream about, Bubba. Class, choose a class in the chopstick.
He just takes the pencils. But the best scene after that is when he tells him, he's like, hey, when you serve the food, serve it over their left shoulder. So you're supposed to put the food over the customer's left shoulder. And of course, we know Bubba can't even get that right. Let's see what Bubba does. He's dropping it. Oh my gosh, that's a really good scene. That's funny right there. What a complete mess Bubba's making. And then, you know, Lamont comes home and you're just like, hey, everything was going smooth, and now he's pissed. He's like, what, you know? And Fred tries to calm him down. He's like, hey, stay down here. He's like, you know what? I got too much going on, Dad. I can't, this is ridiculous. I can't believe this is going on. And he's like, just stay down here with us, son. Just stay down here. Go. Because there's a reason he doesn't want him to go up to his room. And Lamont's like, no. He takes off to his room, and Fred hides. Fred runs in the kitchen. He's hiding. And then you see two people come running out randomly. I think one of them has a plate, a lady and a man. And he comes out. He's like, I don't care what he tells you. You're not eating in my, he says, I don't care if he tells you it's a Tokyo Terrace Tower. You're not eating in my bedroom. That's so funny. They try to make it like it's some fancy place for the bedroom, but Lamont says, get him out, and Fred's hiding. He's scared. So that it's a huge success, right? And we can see it. And that's what sucks, is that, to me, if I'm Fred, I would have just stuck with the takeout business, because it's low key. It's just in the paper. You're not serving. You know, you don't have to all this. And if you're giving stuff, like if you're buying stuff to go, you don't have to worry about dishwashing, none of that stuff. He takes it to the next level. Now you brought the heat on you. We got the inspector there, and Fred is even scared. He's like, homicide. He thinks someone died from sukiyaki seizure, but it's nothing to do with that. The guy's just there to check the restaurant out, and it's not going to meet any requirements. Doesn't have a bathroom, right? It's just one, and he even tells him it's got to be marked a male and female, not first come, first serve. But so there's nothing working. And he even tells him, let's get what he says about the dishwasher.
The ventilation is poor and the dishwasher is no good at all.
Hey, man, I do the best I can.
I love that he's like, hey, I'm doing the best I can. Like Achu is the dishwasher, when no, he means the dishwashing machine, because you can't wash it in that hot water. And you can't wash them in the oven. It's comical. It's stupid, but comical. And that's when he's like, this whole place has to be redone. And it's going to cost about 10 grand. And we got to see Fred's reaction to that. Because Fred at first is like, you know what? We could use some remodeling. You know, we could. Fred's thinking, we could get this done. We can do this, right? Heck, you got the Sanford Arms. Maybe take out a fifth mortgage. I don't know what they are in debt with that, if they're making money on that. But you got the Sanford Arms. Now he's got his Japanese restaurant, Sanford and Rising Son. So he's thinking, hey, maybe I could, until he finds out how much it is. Let's see his reaction.
And I'm losing money in the food business.
It's like 10,000, and then he burns his hand on the stove. And Achu's like, maybe you should start by taking your hand off. So it ain't happening. So they're closed down. Now we see Lamont, and Lamont's stressing. He's done. He's done. He calls it canceling the Simpson deal. He lost this because it turns out, and Lamont couldn't do it, blew the deal, and now he's begging for his dad to come back. And I really like that. I like the fact that he admits it, swallows his pride, because Fred's coming down. He's going to tell him, hey, look, man, I'm done. I got closed down. But Lamont beats him through the punch. And now Fred's like, he knows, hey, I can work this now. And he's like, oh, you know, I can't close down. What about, you know, I got a waiter, I got a cook, I got a doorman, you know, he's got that crew who's relying on income from him. Not to say nothing of Al's body and paint shop down the street, because Hutch keeps crashing the cars. Remember, Hutch is all, I can't drive. so all these people are relying on this money, and Fred's like, I can't cut it down. And Lamont's like, please, and let's see this. I really like this part between. I've always said my favorite part, regardless of the humor, is always the heart at the end of Fred and Lamont. Let's look at this.
Well, I'll be sacrificing a lot of fame and fortune, but for you.
Hey, that's great, Pop.
Yeah, see, it feels good. And I think if Lamont in real life had done that in the show, you know, he would have seen more working together as a team. So they're back together, but right then, Achu comes in and has to blow the whole thing, where it would have been a special scene. Or it still was, but Achu's like, hey, I got, some guy liked me so much, he offered me a job in his restaurant. And since we got closed down, I'm like, I'm going to take it. I just wanted to give you a heads up. Don't worry about me, Fred, or whatever. And Fred's like, oh, I got to go too now. I'm coming with you. And Lamont's like, no. He said, you know what? I should be mad at you, Pop. But you know what? You're good, and you're good at what you do. And I'm so proud that we're back together again. That's a great scene. And then they give up. They get up and hug. And they walk out of the room together hugging. Absolutely beautiful way to end the episode. For the most part, there's always that little side story at the end. But for the most part, that concludes it. And we just saw that last week when we did the one with their home sweet home for the aged. When they're leaving the home, they're hugging, walking away. I love it. So 3 seasons later, still in episodes with that, and that's always been the core. So then they get to Lamont coming home, and Fred's in the Japanese robe, and he's got a book all about Japanese culture, and Lamont's actually proud of him. Let's look at a clip from that.
I admit that I've been prejudiced, but now my eyes are open. That's more like saying for the Japanese.
That's not funny.
Yeah, Fred still can't help it. He even has to apologize. He's like, after he said that, he's like, you know what? You're right, son. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. And then he talks about Godzilla and Godzilla and Son, as we referenced earlier. Let's see that one real quick, in honor of Godzilla.
And the son of Godzilla was made in Japan. Hey, wouldn't that be great, son? A great title for a television series? Godzilla and Son.
Yeah. And it turns out at the end, he's like, what did you use the money on, Pop? And in comes this beautiful lady who is a massage therapist, and she's going to give him a neck and back rub, especially starting with the neck rub. And she starts to do that, and Fred's all, also made in Japan. So it's a great ending. Yeah, this is a great episode. Like I said, 7.6 at IMDb. It is the best for whenever we talk. I did make a post about, hey, what's your favorite Achu? What do you think's the best? And a lot of people said this one because it's one where it's based on him, based with him. He gets the most screen time, and he does get some jokes into it. He always gets jokes. Go check out my short. I'll reference it real quick. I saw this years ago, but Pat Morita said his first time, or not his first, but one of the first times, he made a reference about, remember when he goes, oh, why you hanging, Fred tells him, why you hanging out with him? You're going to get yellow jaundice. And Pat Morita's like, Achu's like, well, what do you got, the Black Plague? And one of the producers told him on the side, he pulled him aside and said, hey, no, this is Red Fox show. He gets the jokes. Nobody gets the jokes over him unless it's, you know, Lamont or something. Or Esther. And then Red Fox heard it, and he came in, and he was like, and this is all Pat Morita. He says, Red came in and was like, what are you, and he imitates his voice so well. Pat Morita does it so well. He's like, what are you doing, this guy? This guy's a comedian. He knows how to make jokes. He knows how to be funny. He's going to be something big someday. You got to give him something to do. He can't just come in here and do nothing. So it was awesome to see him stand up for Pat Morita, and Morita got to keep the joke in. So that shows you the backstory, which makes me love every time I see Achu. But that's really cool. So he does get jokes in this one a lot as well with him. And this is the most screen time he has. So I was like, we got to do this episode. For this Friday, we are going to do Fun Fact Friday, not reaction video or any of those. It's going to be all on Pat Morita. So we will cover his Achu. We will cover him from Happy Days, The Karate Kid, anything that he's ever done that was impactful or just and about his life. You know, we seem to do that. We did that with Grady, Damon Wilson. We did that with, why can't I think of his name right now? It just, oh my, Whitman Mayo, there we go. Sometimes when you're on camera, I love it, I can talk, but your brain, you got so many things focused on. But Whitman Mayo, we did one on him on his Grady week, and we're going to do one on Pat Morita on his Achu week. So stay tuned for that Friday if you care. And then also, I plan on doing a live show this Saturday. I'm shooting for 6 p.m. So all you East Coast fans who watch, it'd only be 3 hours difference at 9 p.m. and you're not up till 11 or midnight when we're done. So that is hopefully something you will enjoy. Comment below if you plan on joining us for that. Leave any comments about this episode, your favorite scene from it, anything I might have missed, because there's always something I leave off. And thank you. Like this video. The more you like it, the more it helps this video get exposed. I guess so. Exposure in YouTube, and it gets people to other people to join our community and subscribe. We're almost at 1,300 subscribers. As we keep pushing, we're that close to it. So please be sure to subscribe and have a great week. We'll talk to you again Friday. Peace.